Have you ever stopped to think about what freedom really means? It's a word that gets thrown around a lot, but do we really understand its full implications? When we talk about freedom, we often focus on the big picture: freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of the press, and so on. But freedom can mean different things to different people. And it can manifest in small everyday ways that we might not even notice. So, what does freedom mean to you? Let's dive in and explore this complex topic together. Hi there. Welcome to Luxio, the place where we motivate and inspire future billionaires like you. For some, freedom might mean the ability to express themselves without fear of persecution. For others, it might mean being able to make their own choices about their body or their lifestyle. And for others still, it might mean simply having the time and resources to pursue their passions. So, when we ask ourselves whether we really understand freedom, we need to consider all of these different facets. We need to ask ourselves what freedom means to us personally, and whether we are doing everything we can to protect and promote it. To understand freedom, there are three things you need to clear first. Number one, freedom doesn't mean there are no rules. Okay, so here's the deal with freedom. A lot of people think it means you can do whatever the heck you want without any rules or consequences. But that's not really how it works. Sure, it's great to have the freedom to make your own choices, but you also need to have some discipline and structure in your life to make it happen. Think about it like this. If you want the freedom to take a year off work and just chill, you need to have the discipline to save up enough money to make it happen. And if you want the freedom to eat whatever junk food you want, you need to have the discipline to balance it out with some healthy stuff too. Basically, freedom is about having good rules that you set for yourself, not just having no rules at all. When you're careless and don't take responsibility for your choices, you're not really free. But when you've taken care of your responsibilities and have a sense of peace of mind, that's when you can truly be carefree. So, if you were in charge of your own little country, how would you make sure it was a place where everyone could be free? You'd probably want to create some smart rules and stick to them, right? Same goes for your own life. It's all about finding that balance between freedom and discipline. Number two, there are ways to get that financial freedom. In this crazy world we live in, it's pretty much a given that you're going to need some money if you want to have any kind of freedom. Sure, there are some people out there who think they can be free without any money. But let's be real, that's a pretty rare scenario. If you want to live on your own farm and raise ducks, you gotta have the money to buy the farm in the first place. Now, some people get a little mixed up between money and wealth. Money is what you work for, but wealth is when your money works for you. And let's face it, we'd all rather be wealthy than just have a pile of cash sitting in the bank. But here's the thing, there are only about 56 million millionaires in the world right now, which means that 99% of people don't have the kind of wealth that really buys freedom. So, how much do you actually need to be considered wealthy enough to buy freedom? Well, these days, it's estimated that you need at least $2 million in assets. Of course, that number can vary depending on where you live and what your individual financial situation is. Here's the thing, even if you don't have millions of dollars, there are still ways you can buy a little bit of freedom. Maybe you start freelancing, so you have more control over your time. Or maybe you invest in an index fund to create a bit of a financial safety net. The point is, you might not be able to afford the full premium package of freedom while working for money, but you can still get the free trial version if you know what I mean. Number three, you have the power to predict your future. Have you ever thought about what your life will look like 6 months from now? A year from now? Most people say that it's impossible to predict the future, but that's not entirely true. You can predict your future, but it requires taking control of your life and building it yourself. Taking control of your future also means taking control of your freedom. If you don't know how much money you'll make next year or how much time you'll have, it's difficult to say yes or no to anything. You can't afford to take risks and are forced to play it safe. Predictability means knowing what needs to happen by when and how to do it. Knowing yourself, your knowledge, and your skills put you in a position where you can launch a company in just a few months, like Naval Ravikant. It gives you the freedom to pick and choose the right time and industry to get involved in. Imagine knowing with certainty that you could get into the shape of your life in just 5 months. In just 5 months, regardless of where you are now. You've done it before and you know how to do it. It's like a superpower that you can deploy whenever you need to. Predictability is not something that's talked about very often because it doesn't sound very exciting. However, predictability is the foundation of our very survival. Early hunter gatherers couldn't predict if they would have food that day or if they would live to see the next day. However, as people moved from hunting to farming, the predictability of a constant source of food gave them the freedom to not put themselves in danger every day. Nothing has fundamentally changed since then. We still want things to be predictable and secure, not mysterious and wild. Predictability doesn't mean taking things for granted. It means being aware of the outcome if you choose to do something a certain way so that you can plan accordingly. If you can solve 3 puzzles, you'll have a predictable path to freedom. Think of freedom as more space, but not just more space in your living room. We're talking about more space in your calendar, your budget, your friends list, and most importantly, your mental space. And that's all you need to know about freedom. Understanding freedom can be pretty complicated. It's not just about doing whatever we want, but also taking into account our responsibilities and considering how our actions will affect our future. We hope you learned a lot from this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you're always updated with our latest videos. See you later!